Hello again. I said in the last video that we would do a meditation this morning, so that's what we're going to do. I don't know who I'm pitching the meditation for, so it doesn't really matter, because I think that if we're experienced, we can always benefit from something quite grounding, quite basic, you could say. In a way, all of meditation is basic if we're relaxed enough and we allow ourselves just to be with ourselves. So with meditation, we're getting to know our mind. It's good to just remind ourselves, we're looking to know our mind. We're not trying to block anything out. We're not trying to avoid anything. We're wanting to know. We're looking with interest at how our mind operates. And of course that means that there will be thoughts and feelings and emotions passing through all the time. And if we can learn how to be soft and let go of everything that arises, absolutely everything, what that does is it allows us some space. It gives us spaciousness. So we're not really talking about physical space, but a sense of spaciousness. In a way, it's quite, you could say it's quite cosmic, The universe is infinite, and we too are infinite. And it's allowing ourselves to merge with that infinity. That's one way of putting it. It may sound a bit far out. It really isn't, if we can just soften enough into meditation. Well, having said that, we're going to do something quite grounding in this meditation, and that is we're going to do a body meditation. So that's always our first starting point, our body. And the reason that I always like to start with the body is because it really does help take us away from all the thoughts that are going on in our mind. It doesn't mean that we want to ignore those thoughts, they will come up. But what is our touchstone? What can we really be sure of? You can't trust those old thoughts. They come and they go, they change all the time, and so does all our experience. But actually, when we're in touch with the felt sensations of the body, it's something so direct. In a way, I think it's even more direct than the breath. I mean, yes, we can be aware of the breath coming and going, but somehow the sensations in our body, they're undeniable. They're really undeniable. But having said that, I know that sometimes, and for some people, it's quite difficult to actually tune in to those sensations because we're not used to doing it. We're used to experiencing our body mostly when we're having maybe fairly extreme experiences. Maybe swimming, in the water and feeling the water on our body, having sex, having orgasms, those sort of things, they give us a kind of obvious, strong experience of our body, but there's something more subtle that we can access. So you can feel clothing against your skin, can't you? You can feel the weight of your body. So, for example, if you're sitting down and then you stand up, if you're acutely aware of what you can feel in your body, it feels different. Suddenly everything drops down and you can feel the weight on your feet. So when we're sitting in meditation, I really like to emphasize the feelings of our buttocks on the seat, because all the weight of our upper body's going into that seat. And when we really look at that sensation, it's quite mysterious actually. And it's mysterious to me anyway, because I couldn't call it a pleasant feeling, I couldn't call it an unpleasant feeling, and yet how can I call it neutral when actually it's a very strong sensation? So yeah, that's probably enough for now. So we're going to meditate on the body. If you'd like to get yourself comfortable, So you may sit on the floor, you may kneel on the floor, or if you're used to doing yoga, perhaps you can sit in half lotus or even full lotus, I don't know. For me, I sit on a chair, and there's nothing wrong with sitting on a chair. It's not any less spiritual. We find a comfortable place where we can be upright and grounded. So if we're sitting on a chair, you want your feet on the floor. Often it's good to have your arms supported, perhaps by having a cushion on your lap, so that your shoulders aren't being pulled forward. And you can meditate either with your eyes open or closed. Obviously, the benefit of having your eyes closed is that there's less distraction. If you have your eyes open, it's quite helpful if you can have the idea that you're not looking at anything, or perhaps even you're looking at space. So when we have a soft gaze with our eyes open, generally we have the eyes focusing downwards. And even with our eyes downwards and with our eyes slightly open, you can actually see quite a panoramic view, can't you? If you don't focus on one thing, you can see if something's happening out of the left corner of your eye, or your right eye, the corner of that eye. Or maybe you can see, you're aware of your nose. Anyway, it's up to you. I think it's quite helpful if you can get used to meditating at least sometimes with your eyes open. And the reason for that is it's so easy to think that meditation is blocking things off or going to some kind of sleepy, comfy place for me time. And actually, that can give us quite the wrong impression. We're including everything. We're not blocking out anything. So settling into our posture, if you have your eyes closed, lightly closed, gently closed. And now we'll take our attention down to our feet. Perhaps it even helps that the feet are the furthest away from our head, where all that thinking's going on. And we're not thinking about the feet. That's not the idea, to think of the feet. But you may even have a picture of your feet coming to mind. Actually, it won't be your feet, it'll be a sort of blueprint of foot. But now let's take attention into the big toes. Could even wiggle them around a bit. Is there any sensation there? And don't worry if there isn't. We can just as easily notice absence of sensation as well as sensation. All around the nail, the end of the big toe, and then we'll briefly move along, just checking whether there are any sensations in the other toes. Sometimes the big toe and the little toe are most sensitive. Maybe you have bare feet and you can feel the air on them, or the sensation of socks making contact. Now let's explore the sensations in the soles of the feet. If we're sitting on a chair and our feet are on the ground, notice which parts of the feet are feeling pressure where they're making contact. If we're sitting on the floor, also we'll have areas of pressure, greater pressure. Do our feet feel relaxed, at ease? And we'll move up now, we'll travel through the ankles. Into our lower legs. And we'll check for sensations in the calf muscles. The muscles often have some tension, so noticing, could we relax them a bit more deeply? Let go of any tightness there. And how about our shins? The bony part of our lower legs. So the skin is very close to the shin bone. Perhaps there's a sense of vulnerability there. Just holding our attention there for any sensations we can notice. And we'll move up into the knee joints. And see if you can look for a sense of spaciousness in the knee joints. If you've got any pain or discomfort as we do this, acknowledging that pain or discomfort, not trying to push it away or ignore it. In fact, the more deeply we can drop into feelings of discomfort, the more they're likely to dissipate. Moving up into the thighs. Thigh muscles, those big, strong muscles, can we relax them a bit more deeply? Allow them to be at ease. And now let's come into the buttocks. Imagine them spreading a bit more deeply on your seat. Just helps them to let go. And be aware of that strong sensation, the weight of your upper body going deep into the seat, making that contact. And now let's move into the lower belly. Is the belly soft, at ease? Is there any disturbance there? Any movement or activity in your guts? Just noticing. And feel the breath in your belly. How it rises with the in-breath, how it falls with the out-breath. A nice, easy rhythm. And now we'll have our attention fall to the back of the body, from the belly to the lower spine. to the very bottom of the spine, tailbone. We can imagine that tailbone dropping down towards the earth, having an affinity with the earth. The spine rising naturally and easily upwards, like a young sapling growing towards the sky. And how about all the muscles in the back? Any twinges, any tightness? So we let our attention roam around the back. And we can breathe into any areas of tightness. Not with any force, just allowing that out breath to relax any tightness. And we'll come up to the shoulders. Noticing sensations there. In particular, let's check for those muscles that join our shoulders to our neck. They can get very tight, can't they? Allowing them to be soft and at ease. And then we'll take attention down our arms. So I think here we're going to take each arm separately. We're going to go down the left arm. So take attention into the left upper arm. Do you notice any warmth in the armpits? Clothing against the skin. The arms are usually very busy, so can we allow the arms to be fully at ease? Nothing to do, just to rest. Coming down to the elbow. Any sensation there? And the lower left arm. We keep our attention moving, checking for any sensations we're aware of. And we'll move into the hand, the left hand. We can notice any tendency to want to have activity of any sort in the hand. Are the fingers relaxed? Perhaps we notice the palm is warmer than the back of the hand. May even be sweaty. Okay, we'll take our attention to the fingertips of the left hand, right to the very tips, and they're very sensitive. And from there, we'll make a mind movement from the tips of the left fingers to the tips of the right fingers. So now we're in the right hand. Once again, noticing any tendency to want to move the fingers or have activity with the hand. Letting the whole hand rest. Warm palm. Moving up through the wrist into the lower right arm. And maybe your arms are resting against the body. Feel that contact. And through the elbow, noting any sensation into the right upper arm. Armpits, shoulder, and then moving up to the back of the neck. So the spine goes right the way through the neck to the base of the skull. And if we tilt our head slightly forward, just slightly, we can feel it elongate. Now coming into the scalp, noticing any itching, any tightness, any activity there. The whole of the scalp where the head hair grows. We can often hold tension there, releasing any tension you find. And what about inside the skull? What's the weather doing inside our head? Is it light? Dark? Is it overcast? Is it alive and awake? So coming now to our forehead, allowing the forehead to be broad and open. Now focusing on the eyes. If we've got our eyes shut, we can still see light coming through the lids, allowing the lids to be soft and the eyeballs to be loose in their sockets. So just imagine that any muscles at the back of the eyes are all loosening, allowing the eyeballs to be nice and loose there. We can feel moisture around the eyeballs, which allows them to move. Now the bridge of the nose, aware of that bone forming the shape of our nose. Feel the sensations there. Skin very close to the bone. And the blobby end of our nose, fleshy end. Sensations of air coming in and out of our nostrils. And now our lips. And our lips are very sensitive. And let's take our attention inside the mouth. All the sensations. And all the 5 elements that make us up can be really noticed inside the mouth. The hardness, the earthy hardness of our teeth, the muscularity of the tongue. Then the watery elements. The whole environment of our mouth is watery. And the element heat, we can feel the warmth inside our mouth and our throat. And air, of course, we can feel the air passing through our throat as we breathe. And space. There has to be space in order for us to speak, in order for us to breathe. Okay, now briefly, being aware of the whole body. Notice if your awareness has changed at all through noticing all the sensations of the body. And now we're going to take attention finally to our heart area, around our chest, feeling the breath there. And the Buddhist name for our mind is Chitta, which doesn't just mean mind, it means mind and heart combined together. So our heart area is a very important place, isn't it? The seat of our emotions. So just having a moment to notice how we are right now, emotionally around our heart. And seeing if you can have an attitude of tenderness towards whatever is there, whether it's pleasant or painful, tenderness towards it. And when you're ready, we'll bring the meditation to a close. So there we've done quite a substantial meditation on the body. But when we do other meditations like mindfulness of breathing or the practice of loving kindness, we can do a much shorter version of a body meditation, but it's always good to do just a little bit. It helps ground us. It really helps us to kind of take our seat. We might think that we've taken our seat just by sitting down, but actually we sort of have to gather ourselves up, don't we, to really be present. So that's it for today. And next time I'll probably be talking some more about verses from the Dhammapada, but we'll certainly do some more meditations on other days. Bye for now.